Happy New Year and welcome to episode number 7 of Dope Discussions. This is a very special one because I have two of my childhood friends with me, Alex and Paul, and they are Crystal Lake. So nice and awesome to have you here with me. Thanks for coming and joining. And yeah, let's dive right in. Whoever
Thanks,
wants to,
thanks for having us.
yeah, of course. Whoever wants to start first, just a little bit of a background, like who you are, what you do, and how you kind of like started this group, Crystal Lake.
All right, Paul, you want to do that or should I go?
Sure, I can give a quick background on how we started. So it all started in the year of 1999. But way before that, we met at the age of, I think, 12 or 13 in summer camp in Israel. Instantly became best friends. And like I said, in 1999, we decided to start this electronic band, which is kind of new thing back in the 90s. And of course, we came from different backgrounds. Alex was playing the drums, I was playing the violin, and then the keyboard, the synthesizers. And we decided to combine our forces in 1999.
How did you come up with the name Crystal Lake?
Oh, it's based on a movie called Friday the 13th. We were obsessed with horror movies back when we were kids. And Crystal Lake is named after the lake in the movie Crystal Lake, where the slasher killer Jason Voorhees kills all the teenagers who are having sex.
Yeah, we were basically teenagers back then, and that was like probably the craziest movie we've seen, and it was just like I don't know, it kind of connected with the vibe of our music back then, which was pretty murderous, I guess. I don't know, it was like really crazy. We were trying to go like as hard as we could on our beats, so we were like thinking what name could fit best our style and what we like, and that kind of hit the right note for us.
That's awesome. So would you define your original, like the style of music that when you first started, that was like a hard style or jump style, right? If I remember correctly, that was kind of like the theme you're going with.
Well, yeah, I guess you could say that, but we were kind of shooting all over the place. We weren't very focused on the style back then
Right.
because we had just a lot of inspirations and just DJs and groups, bands all over the world that we liked. So when you start your project, you don't really know what exactly you want. You just go with the energy, and our energy was like up there, but it wasn't really hard style. You can't say that is hard style. That is like it was just a mixture of things. We kind of combined them all together. I think we're still doing that till this day.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like even recently, one of the recent posts that I saw you do on Instagram is more like elements of psytrance and like just a combination of just like a more like a hardcore like electronic music, and it doesn't fit like any specific genre, but it's kind of like a combination of multiple like fast paced, like like just kick in your face type of style, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a mold of things that we like to listen or dance to, or it's just a mix.
How did you decide to like, okay, we need to like make a group and like start making electronic music? Like what was kind of like the idea behind this?
Well, I think we were separately making music. Alex was making music on his computer, and I was making music on my synthesizer that I saved 2 years working at McDonald's to buy this synthesizer. I was producing happy hardcore, 180 BPM, crazy songs, recording them on cassettes. That was before CDs, before you can burn a CD, and just sending them out to the Netherlands.
Oh my
two
god.
years in McDonald's. 2 years.
Two
Well,
years in McDonald's, yeah,
I'm
just to
not.
get a synthesizer.
I'm not sure if that synthesizer was so expensive or the paycheck was just so shitty.
It's a
yeah, I
combination.
think it's both.
Of course it is.
What
Yeah,
synthesizer did you get?
it's called Insonic TS10, and it's
Insonic
actually
TSN.
used
Okay.
to it's used till this day as a retro synth.
Right.
But it had some unique sounds that you don't hear, and I was trying to imitate what I was hearing on the records of happy hardcore, listening to European radio.
Yeah.
Back then, it was the Rave era, and Alex can tell a little bit about his experience with drums and impulse
Yeah,
tracker. Am I
yeah.
correct?
I was like, I was playing with whatever software I could get my hands on. You remember that because we used to hang out a lot during that time,
Oh
and
yeah.
we
Fruity
were like
Loops and
Fruity
Impulse
Loops.
Tracker.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh my god.
yeah. There was like some hardcore shit. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I was doing some drums, like live drums, going for some lessons and stuff. But I always liked the electronic side of the music. So I don't know if that kind of helped me, the drumming, but I guess it did. But I'm not really sure in what way. But the rhythms I was trying to make were probably a bit more diverse than what a total amateur that doesn't know anything about music starts, and that's what he's doing. So I guess it kind of gave me some kind of inspiration when I started out. So I was doing that and just messing around with Fruity Loops, and then we kind of combined this together with Paul because he was like really into the melodic parts and I was like more into the production stuff. So it kind of molded together. I was like, hey, you can do great melodies. Come over, we'll do something together. And I think the first time we started this, it was like really weird, the whole thing, because it wasn't like you do it now. It's not like you can just send the MIDI file and maybe you could. I
Right.
didn't even know how to do it back then. I think we actually like he came all over to my house with his like huge enormous synthesizer. He just carried it all over here, and we plugged it in with like a million weird RCA or whatever cables, and I think he played it live, and I recorded the audio to the computer, like really crazy shit.
That's so awesome. It's like it's so fun to like look back and see like all the things you had to do or improvise or kind of like do on the fly to get something done or record like something compared to now or just like the technology and all the tools that we have are so advanced and just crazy to like have that experience and kind of like journey through
Yeah,
time.
they
It's
they they, they are. That's true. But I think also if you're used to work like that and you're just used to find solutions to problems, then your creativity is a lot bigger than what it is if you're just using basic presets of whatever you have. So us having to hustle and do all this weird stuff to get some kind of sound kind of gave us the edge because we got weird results. Nobody did that, so it worked because of that.
No, for sure. Yeah, I agree 100%. It's kind of like going back to the point where like if you have a limited amount of tools or resources to use, you are forced to be creative and think outside the box and use the
Yeah,
things that you have like in an unconventional way, and then you get unconventional results which like makes you stand out and be like, oh, like what is this? I've never heard anything like that before. So it like makes you be like, oh, okay, like you're getting more traction and more kind of like people listening to you instead if compared to like if you just did the same thing
yeah,
that everybody else is doing. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
exactly.
like taking a desktop computer to a party that we're playing
I
and wrap
remember
it up
that.
with
Oh my
silver
god.
paper.
Oh my god.
I remember that
Kind of like
party
that. Kind of like that.
when I
It was a
think
good party.
Holy
I
shit.
remember Alex brought like his giant like CRT computer monitor, and it was like on the stage because he had to like see what he was doing.
Oh my god. And some drunk people try to like Get rip the
Stealing.
cables out of it.
Oh my goodness, good times, good times. What was the name of that place?
Amadeus.
Amadeus, yes. Oh man, that like takes me way back. That's crazy. Whew. Um, so okay, what do you think are the pros and the cons of like being in a group compared to like having like a solo producer career?
Well, I think when you travel it's a big plus.
Right,
It's it's very hard to have a career by yourself if you have to travel by yourself. A lot of people say that it's also a minus because if you have to travel two people, then it costs more money for the production to fly you over and stuff like that.
right,
So that's probably the minus part of it. But also the pro of that is you basically have somebody that you can be together with and you share the experience, and it's a lot more fun to do that like that. And
Also,
of course, it's like a team effort. You're together with somebody, and it's like you have some kind of goal, and you're doing it. You're doing the journey together, so it's fun.
plus the production can be way faster because each person has its own job, and once you know your partner, it's easier to produce music that way. Otherwise, you have to do everything by yourself, which
right.
can be really time consuming. But working as a team, we can work on planes, we can work in hotel rooms. So it's very beneficial. So, yeah.
Yeah, hotel room sessions. They're so productive.
Oh,
I have a hangover.
depends how much you drink.
It's
uh,
horrible.
have you ever had like I guess disagreements or arguments like when it comes to like either production or like like what you should do or like which direction you should take like the track or the album or something like that, and like how did you like come to a solution together?
Yes, we do. Fist fights.
Classic.
Yeah, solves everything. Yeah, I don't know. We have a lot of like things that sometimes we don't agree on, but like I said before, we have each one has his own role. So I'm like more into the production side. Paul is more into the melodic and the writing and all that stuff. So even if we're not agreeing with each other on something, we are listening to each other. And if the thing that like the discussion is on, for example, his field, so I'm not gonna be like super persistent about it because I mean that's his expertise. So
Right.
if he has something over there and he's like, no, I think that should be that. I'll say I don't think so. Let me try something else. But at the same time, if he persists and he says no, it's better. Trust me. I'm like, all right, let's go. So I guess like that.
Yeah, and after you know someone for like 25 years, you already like you kind of become the same person. So it's like we know what's good and we know what's not good.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. Where do you work as far as like where do you do all your production and your writing and your recording? Do you have like a studio place where you go to, or like how do you do that?
Well, right now, because of COVID, of course, we have our studio. Uh, Sometimes we sit there together, sometimes individually, but we also have our home studios. So, for example, for COVID, I got myself a new talk box and I'm practicing.
Nice.
and and all of it basically gave us a chance to like slow the pace a little bit and get our shit together and get some great new music produced. So I'm guess the place of production is wherever you go. So I can be just surfing in the sea and just an idea comes up and I get out and record it on my phone and then I go
Yeah.
to the studio and produce it. So the creativity process happens everywhere. But majority of the work is in our home studios and our main studio.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's much easier for Paul because he's like more into the melodic stuff. I need my tools.
Right.
So I did like right when COVID started, I was like all right, this thing is gonna be bad. You know, like the preppers when they have the whole
Doomsday,
house full of
doomsday
shit.
preppers.
Yeah, so I was like that. I was like, oh shit, I gotta get my shit together here. So I was like, got the speakers, got the sound card right, like fixed the computer up, upgraded everything. So right now I'm very comfortable here. I can just basically work without leaving my room, and it's good. But we also have our main studio, which there we basically finalize the mixes and uh, and do that. So yeah, that's about it.
And you're talking about tools. What tools do you use? I guess specifically for you, Alex. Like what DAW do you use? I'm pretty sure you're still using Cubase, correct?
Yeah.
And like, do you use any other? Like, what's your go-to? I guess VSTs, or like, do you use any hardware for your productions or like for your final mix?
Yeah, so we're not using any hardware right now. We basically sold everything we had. Um, it was kind of at some point it was basically too hard to even start working with the hardware, and I was just like, why do I do all that stuff? I'm gonna just do it on my VST and get pretty much the same result. Some say it won't, but I think you can get to the right sound if you know what you're doing with anything.
Right.
So yeah, I mean we are using Cubase. We are using one of the main synths, I guess, right now for us is Silent One. It's a pretty old synth right now already, but it's just so good. I love it. I really love working with that because it's so simple and very light. So I work with that, and what else? A little bit of Serum and. Viper is a great synth. Not a lot of people know that. Viper is basically a clone of the Access Virus TI,
Okay.
and they did an amazing job with that. Really, there's like comparison sounds. You can hear the TI, you can hear that Viper thing. It's you won't recognize which one is which.
Right.
So I love that one. Yeah, and also we're using a lot of distortion right now, so we're very happy with the new plugins that Cubase put out on Cubase 10. They have like a major upgrade there because before that we had to use Logic as a distortion tool. I had to actually own a Mac just to
What?
have that kind of effect. Yeah, true,
That's
true
crazy.
story. Yeah, those hardstyle kicks, they have like very special character to them. So you have to use the right tools for that. And one of the tools was a built-in distortion plugin that was only in Logic, and it's
Clip
called Clip
distortion.
Distortion. Yeah, so we basically bought a second-hand Mac just to have that plugin and work on that. So right now Cubase upgraded their shit, and finally they have a similar tool. So yeah, we're working with that, and yeah,
That's
you can
some.
check our Instagram for our flow. I'm uploading quite a lot of videos with like cool stuff I'm making there. So
Yeah, I actually saw the one today with the psytrance vocals. Like, that was pretty cool. Uh,
hmm
that's some dedication, man. To like to get like an entire machine, like the Mac and Logic, just so you can have that one plugin for that one specific kick character. I
yeah,
love
yeah,
it.
you gotta do what you gotta do.
What would you say, both like as a group and also like individually? What are your like top challenges as artists, as musicians, as producers? Like, what do you struggle with the most?
First of all, is having a nice balance between production and ordinary life, to keep
Hmm.
that balance, because sometimes we spend 8 hours, 10 hours on a track, and you also have other stuff going on in your life. So the dedication is very important to make it, but also you need to know when to let go and just to come back to the project at a different time when you're more open to it. Also, of course, what every artist, everyone want to make it big and all, but you need to know that it's a process, and we are basically creating the music that we love right now. It took us a long time to get to this point, that we are making music because we like making music.
Right.
uh, A lot of people are in it for other stuff, but it took us a while to understand that, and right now we're just enjoying it.
What about you, Alex?
I think my biggest challenge is when it comes to creativity and sound. I'm trying to not have some kind of change from each track that we're doing. I don't want them to sound the same. You know, a lot of people just use the same template and
Yeah.
just rape the shit out of it. You know, and I get bored from that very fast. Maybe it's not a good thing. I don't know, because maybe it's stupid, because maybe I'm wasting too much time on that to change it and to make it sound fresh. I don't know, but that's one of my challenges, because like sometimes I work on some kind of beat for, I don't know, 2 weeks just to hear it and then say, you know what, it's fucking shit. You know, it sucks.
Yeah.
And then you have to like scrap the whole thing, and you basically go back to the one you had before, and you're like, all right, that was better. So that's like one of my biggest challenges. And on the other hand, when you do succeed and you make that cool thing, you know, then it's like a huge high. You feel like
Right.
you
Like a
created fire, you
eureka
know?
moment. Like, oh.
Yeah, there's that meme from what's that movie when he's stranded on an island and he's created the fire and he's like, so like that. That's
Castaway,
it.
Castaway.
Yeah.
Yes, that one.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I think also in terms of making music and writing lyrics or melodies, back like in the past, we had some dry periods when we were stuck. So it comes back to what I said earlier. Sometimes you just need some fresh air and not be under the pressure to just create tracks, create hits, because the best things are created as an accident.
oh, absolutely.
And yeah, the biggest tracks we produced were like spur of the moment. It's like, okay, let's connect this and see what happens, and suddenly you hear that on Tomorrowland and you're like, okay,
Yeah,
good.
absolutely. For
Yeah.
sure. That's a big thing to do when you're like out of ideas and you just combine two ideas which already exist and you get something totally new. That's like a big plus and something that a lot of producers should try.
No, yeah, I agree with you, and I myself struggle with that too. Like to your point, Alex, when you said earlier, where like you don't want your tracks to sound similar to the previous ones, but you also like don't want to spend too much time trying to work on this like brand new concept or idea or sound design or something, and then you like spend a couple of weeks basically not producing anything because you're trying new things and it doesn't work, and then you get frustrated and you take a break and you come back, and it's like you're stuck in this weird loop of like, I'm not putting anything out, but I'm also not making any progress. Like, what am I doing? And yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's hard, but then at some point you
It's
go
part
back
of the
and
job.
and you try
and,
something you
and
already did, and they're like, oh cool, like I guess I'll just do that. I'll just use like a different like EQ
And
or different effects,
nobody gives a shit about that. That's like
right?
only in my head. It's only in your head.
and
Nobody gives a
yeah,
crap. They don't know what it sounds like. It sounds like the other one. They don't care.
that
That's the
that
funny
is
thing.
also very true.
and plus you need to keep your signature sound, which is also important. So that's the third thing. So it can't sound too different. So you gotta something from your previous track does need to remain there. So it's keeping that balance
Yeah, that
of
is true.
creativity and something new. Yeah.
I think it is like one of the hardest things to have like your own signature kind of like stamp on the track, but also have it be like fresh and not just like a copy paste with like a different pattern on the bass line and like a slightly different melody using the exact same like samples and tools.
Mhm.
It's like after a while people will be like, okay, cool, like it's like it becomes kind of like predictive almost, like yeah, I know where this is going, and you know it's challenging for sure. Or having
So
like that imposter syndrome of like is this even good enough, like are people gonna like it, like it's like you're constantly fighting with that in your own head. And I feel like
yeah,
every producer or musician I've talked to, like they all share the exact same like fears and thoughts in their own head, especially like when you're in the beginning of the journey, right? Like you're you're trying to make it, you're trying to like get on that playlist, trying to book that show or something, and it's like, I don't know, like, are we good enough? Is this music even gonna be popular? Are people gonna come to the show? Are they gonna like it? It's a constant battle in your head.
True,
And then
true.
the alcohol comes to help you.
The alcohol, yeah.
I
No,
mean,
When
also
in doubt.
you can find a friend or two who are not biased, and you can always share with them some ideas and listen to what they have to say about it. It's like they are. I don't know. It's not. I'm not sure if it's a friend exactly, but they are people who just love good music, and they're not necessarily producers who can give you very good feedback. We have a
right.
friend like that. His name is Mark, and he lives in Germany. We just got in touch like many years ago. I don't even remember about what, but we just kept in touch. And right now, he's kind of like our go-to guy whenever we have an idea we're not sure if it's good or not. And he's not producing music at all, so that's funny. But we are listening to what he has to say, not blindly, but it's another opinion, and also it's good to have somebody like that.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Like having that, like getting true, honest, unbiased feedback about like your work is priceless. Like he doesn't get anything out of it, and I'm assuming, like, I don't know if you're like paying him or something to do that, but my guess is it's just kind of like a
Just
friendly thing, right?
sex favors.
That always works. uh, That's cool. So we kind of briefly talked about it, but just I'm curious, like with COVID, how did that affect you? More on like the financial part of the industry, right? Like you're not doing any shows, like you're obviously not traveling or doing like any type of that work. So like, what are you doing about it, and like how did COVID impact you in that way?
Well, I think for us, the all the shows, it's a good question because some people who are at the beginning of their career or at the middle of their career or whatever, they have to decide what they're doing with the money that they're earning from the gigs. If they're making any money from gigs. Basically, our situation, all of the money, everything that we're making is going back to music. I
Right.
don't think we're actually taking it and using it as a day-to-day um, usage. So also because we live in Israel, our gigs it's not like insane amount of gigs that they changed our whole life. So right now, when our shows got canceled and we had quite a few shows, but we didn't like it didn't crash us. We just used the time to make new music and just to relax and have better ideas. And financial wise, it didn't really affect us that much, so we're okay with that right now. And I think for me at least, it was uh, it was a good break. I needed that. I didn't even know that I needed that, but
Yeah.
I needed that break. And right now, I feel like whenever I work on new music, I have a lot more inspiration and a lot more like cool ideas and just things to do. Um, when before that, when before COVID, it was just like like a factory. Like we have to finish that track, we have to release a track every month or every 2 months or whatever. So that kind of ended that, and it gave me a clearer mind of how I want to produce music.
That's awesome. What about you, Paul?
I think the good thing about COVID, it's a new idea. Here we are. So it gave us a chance, like Alex said, to first of all, it put everyone in their houses. And what do you do when you're bored? You produce more music. So what I mentioned earlier about the talk box and stuff like that, we're experimenting more. So now that we have this break, we can actually try new things, try new ideas, even new collabs that may come about, because now that people, even the big names, are not touring or any other artists. So people just are more open to new ideas. and that's everyone, not just Crystal Lake.
Right.
So I think it's something good for the industry. Also, before that, like the festivals were pretty hectic. It was a party, 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 all summer, all winter, and I think it's gonna come back even bigger after COVID is over. So it's something healthy. Yeah,
No, for sure. Yeah, I agree with you. I think having that like being forced into your house and not having kind of like any other distractions or things you could be doing, right? It's like you have to stay in and kind of like that's it, right? So you, to your point, like, well, if you're bored, like, yeah, you're gonna have more time on your hands to try different things, to experiment. And I feel like you said, Paul, like even the big names, they're more open to like collaborating or helping or mentoring, or like doing more things that are like otherwise they would not have had time or even the will to do, right? So it's kind of like we can use that into like to our advantage to like reach out to those like big names and be like, hey, I have this idea, like, I wanted to run by you, like, what do you think? Can we like collab on this or do something, or you know
yeah,
anything like that. So it is kind of cool to, even though it's like horrible, this whole pandemic thing, but it's like you got to look at the like the positive side, or like the silver lining. And I think
of
Yeah,
course.
absolutely,
all,
always.
all of
And
those things are
we
good.
also got Tiger King, so all good.
I actually have not seen that.
Oh,
Oh,
it's a shame you missed out on everything that was good about the pandemic.
um what so do you have any specific projects you're working on right now, or is it all kind of like in the like testing, experimental phase?
so we finished four tracks. We have four tracks ready. No, five tracks. We have five tracks ready.
I
Nice.
think more, but yeah,
We have three solo tracks which we finished. That's for sure. And also we have a few collabs that are hopefully gonna be finished soon. And yeah, we're also working on an album which is going to be released this year, and it's going to be I think our first Crystal Lake album, basically.
That's
Yeah, it's
exciting.
our first. It's very exciting. It's like a stamp for us because we wanted to do this kind of package for our fans who can just listen to Crystal Lake music, like the best songs that we did in the past few years. So that's gonna be really cool.
So is it all new
And
productions on the album?
no, it's not new productions. It's gonna be selected tracks that we already released. Some of them are going to be in special album versions that we made. Some new productions. It's going to be like a special mix like that.
Nice.
But for us, it didn't really make sense, right? I don't know. I don't know if it does make sense to anyone to release like nowadays a full album because at least in our genre, because it just a lot of tracks kind of they don't get the attention they need,
Right.
in my opinion. I would rather release singles and promote every single and make sure that people listen to that, and then kind of release a full package of all these tracks together so they can like enjoy it on Spotify or whatever,
Right.
rather than just release 10 or 15 tracks all together and maybe three or four of them will be heard and everything else is just going to be in the background. It just sucks. I don't think that's the right thing to do. So yeah.
uh
And also, Paul is practicing his talk box skills lately.
thank you so much.
Yeah,
I'm not wasting any time speaking.
you wanna show us what you can do?
No, that's fine. We're gonna not yet.
Not yet. All
I'm
right.
gonna
so so you
I'm
have
gonna
the
send a clip.
so you have the hookah pipe that you talk into as you're playing the keyboard.
No, the garden pipe. The garden pipe. That's actually funny. You should ask. The most problematic part about Talkbox is the hose being stuck in your mouth. For some
Right.
people, it's not so difficult, but you need to get used to something being stuck in your mouth for a long time.
I have faith that you'll be good at it.
Thank you so much.
um, couple more questions before we wrap up. what are the like the top things you wish you knew where you were just like getting into this industry, into this world of music production, DJing, and whatnot?
Cool. I think one of the things we learned during our process, and it probably can answer that question as well, is well, there are a few things, but one of them is you can't do everything by yourself. It's not, it doesn't work that way. And at the beginning, you don't really have a choice, because you're broke and you don't have any money, and you kind of have to do it by yourself.
Right.
Uh, but every producer who wants to take it to the next level needs to understand that he can't be like good at everything. You can't be the best graphic designer, the best movie designer, the best video music designer, producer. Um, Also mastering. There's like a bunch of fields out there, and being a label. And I see a lot of people who are doing it, and they're like, I'm gonna do everything by myself. I'm gonna be my own label. I don't need labels. I don't need that. And yeah, you don't really need labels, and maybe you don't, and maybe you can do it by yourself. But if you're doing everything by yourself, then you're not really doing music, are you? You know,
Right.
you're wasting a lot of time on all that hustle. So you can, if you're good at graphics, go ahead, do your own graphics. If you're good at managing a label, go ahead, do that. But if you can't do everything by yourself, so that's like something we had to learn on our own skin, because we were trying to be those guys.
Right.
Uh, so that's like something that is important. Also, being having your own sound and basically following what you feel, and kind of like transforming your energy as a human, as a person, to your music is very important. And you can, I don't know, I mean, I can say it to a lot of newcomers. I'm not sure they're gonna get it, because I don't know if you can get it. I think you can just get it after you're like going through all the crap, and then you reach that point, and then you're like, oh, okay, that's what I had to do. Great. But I don't know if you can tell it, and then it's just, okay, we're gonna listen to our minds. I don't know. We used to copy a lot of people. We were like listening to that and listening to this and listening to that and trying to do exactly the same thing. I would like grab a whole track, put it in my project, loop the goddamn drop for like 50,000 times, and try to recreate that shit. Of course, it was like worse than the original, and like, because you can't. Maybe you'll get to some kind of like same thing, but you're not gonna be as good as the original, if that original was made from some kind of emotion, if because you can't feel it. If you're trying
Right.
to copy it, you're not gonna have music that you feel, and that's something that we had to learn. So right now, when we're producing and we're making music, we're just doing something that at the end of the day, we know it's good because it feels good to us.
No, a hundred
So that,
percent. I think even like to your point when you said that people who are just starting out might like hear you, but not like really hear you, right? Like they're like, oh, okay, cool, but then it's kind of like go in here, come out of here. But
yeah,
it's still important to even be aware of that like, hey, like this is something I need to kind of like look out for and like work towards to like have my own like either signature sound or like something that is unique to me, basically like express my own unique self through my art, like music or painting or graphics or video editing or whatever it is. uh, Once you reach that point, it's like, yes, it like just becomes natural, and like you don't have to like try hard to do that because it's just that's what you do because it's just you in a form of art, right?
yeah, 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 absolutely.
I
What about you,
think I
Paul?
think a few I think a few more things uh, that we should have known when starting out is, first of all, read the contracts. You're gonna
Yeah.
Yeah, very important.
Ooh,
So if you make something that is good, you're gonna get a contract. That's the next step, and you need to read it. You need to understand your financials, at least the basics of that. So you have a lot of stories of that from Hollywood, people not reading contracts and then being enslaved to the record labels. Very important to read everything. And another thing is to know that success, you have people that succeed overnight. And most of the times that is not the case. You only hear about these people when they succeed.
Right.
So it may take years. And this is why, again, it's so important to be in it for the love of music and not anything else. Because if you're going to try to be a copycat, and if you're in it for the money, it may work. It may work for a short period, but it won't work forever. And yeah, that's the two most important tips, because yeah, you need to read the fine print on everything and know what's going on.
Okay, one last thing is any like general tips or advice that you want to share with, I guess, like anyone. It can be anything related to music or just kind of like general like life, um, something motivational or inspirational that you want to share.
Yeah, you gotta be yourself. You have to be yourself. You can't fake it. You can't like be somebody totally different than what you are. I mean, you can, but it's not. People are not gonna buy it. So try to express yourself the most as you can. And if you're like a crazy flamboyant person, then be that. Be that. And take it to the next level as an artist. Or if you're like some kind of computer geek, then be that. But don't be a computer geek who decides to be some crazy like party guy. It just doesn't work like that. So that's a good tip. And maybe through that also look for your own sound. Through that same advice. Yeah, and follow Crystal Lake on Spotify.
Yes. Paul, what about you?
Yeah, just something brief. Just don't be a dick. Try and be nice to people. That's all. So yeah, just because everything around the world is about connections at the end of the day, the collabs, everything. So if you leave a bad impression, if you're not nice to people, it's gonna come back to you. So it's important to be nice, more than being important.
Yeah,
See what I did there?
yes. I see what you did there. Some good old Scooter quote. No, yeah, I agree with both of you, and that's like, again, like it's a theme that I keep hearing over and over. Just like be yourself, because only you can be you, right? Like there's nobody else like you in the world. So like that's, I feel like it's, in a way it's the easiest thing, because like you don't need to try hard, like you just be who you are, and stop thinking about like, oh, like what if people don't like me, or like what if I don't fit like a certain niche or whatever. Like, so you fit a different niche that is specific to you and unique to you, and then like nobody else can do that. So it's like right there in front of us, but for some reason it's almost like the hardest thing to do and to be, because it's also like one of the most vulnerable things you can do, right? Like to be like your own like raw self. There's nothing to hide behind. So if someone doesn't like what you have to like say or do, then like it really hurts, because this is me, right? So like I understand why it's difficult and why it's challenging for like so many people, especially when you're like an artist. um, and also, Paul, to your point, like being nice and kind, and like just be a good human to others. Like everybody will want to work with you in the future, even if nothing comes out now. Like you're making that first connection and relationship that down the road could turn into something huge or flourish into just a regular like just friendship, right? Like even if nothing like business wise comes out of it. And it's so important, especially like
It's a, it's
nowadays,
a
you know.
very very small world. I can tell you just one small example, a funny, very funny example. You were talking to me about back in the days, the first Crystal Lake tracks. Our first Crystal Lake track was called Thunderbolt. It's basically our hardstyle, early hardstyle track, which we signed. That was the first track we signed, I think. And the guy who signed it, he signed it to a record label called Sonic Sounds. This label doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. His name was Bas Kaspers, and the same guy right now. I like a year ago. I suddenly see that he is one of the head people on Q Dance right now, which is basically one of the biggest organizations in hardstyle, and this is like insane,
Right.
you know. So you never know who you're talking to and where is he gonna end up and if you're gonna need him or not. So yeah, be nice.
Exactly. That's so important. And like I said earlier, like even if nothing comes out of it, like it's still so much better and feels so much better to just have like a good and like relationships and have friendships with different types of people all over the world, because once again you never know what could happen in the future, and that one person that may like reach out to you on Instagram and ask for help might become like ahead of some major label in 10 years from now. You don't know that, but then they'll remember because you helped them when they were just starting out, so they'll help you when you need it. It's like it's that's just how it is. But yeah, like
Yeah.
if you're a
I
dick,
think
then
in
you're not gonna
general,
get anything.
you're not gonna get it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, just in general, being a good person is a good and a good advice. It has nothing to do with music at all.
Exactly.
Just in this field, it's a bit more to the point, because it just can go back to you eventually. But
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Awesome. Well, we're coming out on our time here. Once again, thank you both so much for taking the time and coming to the show and talking to me. This is awesome. Hopefully, we'll see each other in person soon. I'm planning to visit Israel this year if the situation and everything allows. So we'll definitely hang out and have some beers. And yeah,
awesome.
love you both. Take care. Have a good one, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Peace. Thank you so much.
Bye.